What's going on, y'all? It's the You Did What podcast where exceptional people drop exceptional gems. I got myself, Cuzzo here,
Jay White.
and we got my man, Keith Perrin. Our guest tonight, they started out with 5 t-shirts and built that into a $6 billion empire. He is the co-founder of FUBU. Right now, they got hotel chains in the works. They got a television network that they're working on. They have a radio station. I mean, they got their hands in everything. And like I said, he goes by the name of Keith Perrin. Keith, what's going on, man? I appreciate you joining us tonight.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, man? What's going on?
We just cooling, man. First of all, we glad to have you up on here, man. Soak up some of that OG knowledge and wisdom that you got going on over there and just chop it up tonight, bro.
I hear you, man. I hear you. Appreciate you having me, man.
Nah, for sure, man. So one of the first things, man, that I want to say is I think when the name FUBU is mentioned, that a lot of people have misconceptions. You know what I mean? Even myself. So for those of y'all that don't know, like I said, Keith is a part of FUBU Radio as well. And his partner is from North Carolina. One of his partners. His name is Demetrius Brown. We know him by the name Bull. But Bull introduced us and said, yo, you should go check out Keith. You know, he up there in New York. Y'all in New York on the media run. Stop by and see him. So I go see Keith, you know, and these guys are in a skyscraper still today. Got like the top, how many floors is it?
That one I think was 15 floors.
Y'all got 15 floors in the skyscraper. You got the Shark Tank going on. You got a rooftop terrace. Like, so by no means are these guys out of business. You know what I mean? FUBU is still on and popping, man. So I just want to get that misconception out the way first and foremost. So it's 3 of y'all, right? I mean, it's you and 3 other guys. Y'all
Right.
all came from Queens, right?
Right.
All of y'all from Queens.
I'm from Queens too.
Okay, which part?
Far Rockaway.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved to North Carolina when I was 9, but I'm originally from Far Rockaway. Grew up on New Haven Avenue. Went to PS 197.
Yo, so my question is, like, was there other friends from y'all's neighborhood or from where y'all was around that just couldn't get down with the program and y'all had to just kind of push on and it kind of bubbled down to the 4 of y'all?
Yeah, well, originally it was 5 of us. That's where you get the 05 on the jersey from. You know,
Gotcha.
we got number 5. And you know, this was early on. But my guy, he how you got some people that don't want to put in the work, but want to get rewards. He didn't really want to put in the work. So once we got the deal and we started moving on, you know, being that he wasn't working and he wasn't doing anything, we kind of, you know, well, not me, but you know, Damon is the CEO, so he kind of cut ties with him. And then it just, you know, when we moved to the Empire State Building, you know, we took him with us to see if he was going, you know, maybe come to his senses, but he never did. So, you know, we had to let him go.
Nah, for sure.
Everybody else, I mean, it wasn't really a lot of other people involved. It was just us 5. You know, we had other friends or whatever, but you know, those other friends we always tell us that, you know, y'all not gonna have no clothing company, or you know, it was a lot of negative stuff like that. So once we got on, it was a whole different mindset. It was, yo, can I get a job, and you know, all this other stuff. So, you know.
Yeah. And how did y'all determine at that time, like, who played what role? Was it like the natural roles that y'all was kind of gifted in, or was y'all stretching and having to be in areas that was uncomfortable? How did y'all determine that at that time?
Well, we just basically did what needed to be done. You know, Carl, he was doing the deliveries. You know, if he wasn't around to do deliveries, somebody else would do it. Like, so whoever had free time or whoever, you know, kind of jumped in and did whatever. You know, Jay would be in charge of like the fabric and stuff like that because he was more of the fashion guy. You know, Damon was always basically the CEO because it was his it was his baby. But and I was working. I used to be a property manager in Harlem, so I was managing. I think it was like 10 buildings. The budget for that was like $6 million budget. And I got that job when I was 20 years old. So I did that for like 5 or 6 years, almost 6 years, and then I wound up, you know, getting let go from there. And then we all just gave this 100% and started moving with this.
Gotcha. I heard you say that y'all started and stopped 5 different times, right?
Oh yeah. Nah, it was a lot of, because we didn't have that financial literacy, so the money that we did get, we didn't even know, too much about the fashion industry itself and what it took to get things done, and all that. So we spent a lot of bread just making these crazy mistakes, because we really had no blueprint. You know what I'm saying? It was just
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. So the money kept running out. So as the money kept running out, we had to stop, you know, and try to figure out another source of capital to come in that we can get started again. So I know Damon was running around to maybe 28, 29 banks or something like that, trying to get loans, and he couldn't get them. Nobody would give him a loan. Um, and then his mom's mortgaged the house for 100,000. And once she did that, we had that 100,000 for about 6 months. I think it was about 6 months, just trying to figure it out. And then once that ran out, um, you know, we we were lucky enough to get a deal after that.
Mm, that's hard. Um, so y'all's first or one of y'all first breaks came from the Magic Show, right? Was this around that
Yeah,
same time?
yeah. Because the Magic Show, we had, you know, we went down there. Actually, I wasn't able to go down there because I was still doing the property management. I still had my property management job, so I sent my cousin down there with him to help out. And I remember them coming back saying, yo, we got 300,000 in orders, and we're about to be on. So we all happy, jumping around the room and whatnot, celebrating. And then we just quickly realized, like, how the hell are we gonna make $300,000 worth of clothes? It's just a beautiful thing to have that on paper, but if you don't have no bread to really get that done, then you back to square one again with the capital. So um I know his mom's is like, listen, put an ad in the paper saying that you got $1 million worth of orders and you need financing. And we were like, we don't have $1 million worth of orders, we only got 300,000. She's like, listen, put $1 million worth of orders, need financing. So we did that. And when I'm telling you, yo, we had every kind of cat call us on the phone. Like, it was crazy. It was like, you know, mobsters, certain cats in the industry that was really like shisty, that used to jerk people around. Like, those are the first, those are the original sharks. You know what I'm saying? Those cats that was like preying on the unsuspected or the uneducated people coming into the business who didn't know better. And then we got a call from Samsung, one of the guys at Samsung, and Damon set up the meeting, and then we all thought we was gonna go to the meeting, but back then we was on some, nah, mean, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying? We was so hood, man. It was so crazy. So he was like, I don't want y'all to mess up the deal, so I'm gonna go here myself and handle it. So he did, came back. The guy kind of like, hit him with the, we'll see. And then we got back to work. Once he came back and it wasn't nothing concrete, we just got back to work. And I remember Fredro Starr calling us one time for New York Undercover. He wanted some clothes. So he came by the house, grabbed some clothes, did New York Undercover, and he wound up getting killed in the shirt. So when he got killed in the shirt, it was like, okay, now we on mainstream TV on on a different level. Yeah, we've been on TV and videos and stuff like that, but we've never been on TV on a TV show or anything like that. So the guy kind of saw what was going on with that and was like, "Oh, you guys are still out there. Won't y'all come back for another meeting?" And then once we went back for the second meeting, it was all good after that. We moved from Farmers into the Empire State Building.
Straight to the Empire State Building.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that episode too, because it was like he got killed in slow motion.
Yeah, it was like a 30. It was like a 30-minute. A 30-second. It was, and it felt like a 30-second commercial. Because it was like him dying from all different. I mean, them showing it from like all different angles and whatnot. So, you couldn't tell us nothing. No, once we saw that, we was like, "Oh, it's about to be on," and and it was.
Yeah. So before that, that's when y'all was moving around with like the 5 or 6 T-shirts, right? And like popping out.
We had. I want to say we might have had about 10 pieces. We had a jersey, like 2 jerseys, 2 hockey jerseys, a couple of sweatshirts, a couple of T-shirts, some hats, and just a couple of pieces. But it wasn't a lot.
Yeah. And y'all would like let people wear them for the video shoot and then take the joints back.
Oh yeah, it was serious back then because.
So look, I got a question. Give us a video that we can go see that you took the shirts back from.
Man, I don't remember, man. Like 30 years ago, man. No, it probably was Where You Want to Be Boy with Miss Jones and Moni Love. They had on the hockey jerseys. I know those only 2 hockey jerseys we had, so I know we took them back.
We repossessed the joints.
Yeah, we repossessed those, but there was so many videos. You had the Brand Nubians. I'm not sure. I don't remember. All I know is the earliest videos we had, we didn't have a lot of clothes, so we did the Brand Nubians. We did whatchamacallit, the Miss Jones video. I know we did the Cream video, Wu-Tang. So we had a couple of pieces. I know the Buster video was definitely one of them with Janet Jackson. When he had on the black and white polyurethane jacket that we had, that was the only one we had. So we put that on him and got it back from him.
Now y'all was in the Cream video.
Yeah.
I think all of these.
I think Meth had on a FUBU hat, if I remember correctly, when he was on the ice cream truck.
Wow, that's hard. That's hard. You got anything? What?
Yeah, when y'all was did y'all kind of let them know that you was going to take the stuff back at the end of the night, or was it like, yo, we still here waiting on y'all to get done?
Yeah, no, that was the main purpose, because you would have to be on set for sometimes 12, 14, 16 hours because they had to close, so you had to give it to them and then let them go through their changes or whatever, and then once they was finished, you'd be like, let me get that back. You know what I mean? But they understood. Most of them was like, I just make sure you hook me up, and then once we would make some product and things like that, we would make sure we tapped in with them and gave them some stuff.
Yeah, and then you said y'all got the investment and it started to like take off a little bit, right?
Yeah, we got the investment. Excuse me. We got the investment. Then we moved to the Empire State Building. We had a little office. We kind of moved in with our partners, and their office, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. And it was big enough just for 5 people. So then you add 4 dudes that's coming in there and they friends and all that. It was really jammed. So we wound up getting a spot. That was on the 48th floor. And then we moved up from their spot. We built our own spot on the 66th floor. I don't think you ever got a chance to come to that office.
You told me that's the office that the rent was like 100 G's a month or something like that.
Yeah. It was where you was at too. That rent was over 100 G's too. Oh, but it wasn't. It was like 2 floors. We had the penthouse over there. But yeah, the Empire State Building. That was it, man. We had, At first we had like the 66th floor, then we had the 65th, office on the 65th floor. Then we got an office on the 63rd floor. So we had like 3 different floors we was running back and forth until everybody moved out on the 66th floor. Then we built it all out and everybody moved upstairs to one floor. And we had the whole floor.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of those fresh out of poverty purchases, man. What kind of purchases was y'all making around this time?
Well, I know Damon and Jay, they bought cars. I know Damon bought Benz. I think he had a CL 500. And then Jay had a Lexus truck. I had bought a Navigator and put like $40,000 worth of equipment and all kind of, like, I had regular TV in my joint. People had, I had like, I could literally watch channel 247, like, and I had satellite in there, so it was crazy. But what was it? Not was it satellite? It was no, it was just regular TV. My bad. It was just regular TV in there, but I was able to get those channels and whatnot. But I spent like 40,000 on that. And then I know Carl, he had the Range Rover. And then after that, everybody just started buying houses. Once we got the bread, and I bought my mom's a house first because I always promised her that I would get her a crib. So, I went and bought her a house. God willing, we still got it to this day. But you know what I'm saying? I was able to get her a nice little something she wanted. So,
and y'all was like y'all was celebrities around this time too. Like y'all was like
we was doing a lot of TV commercials and whatnot. And excuse me. And it was something that you never really seen before. You know what I'm saying? So we was traveling down the road because even though we was for fashion cast, it felt like we was an R&B group. You know what I'm saying? Because it just the shine that we had on us, we was young black millionaires at that time. Everybody was running around caked up. It was nothing we couldn't do, nowhere we couldn't go. And then we used to, we didn't have the Instagram thing back then. So yeah, we used to do magazine, articles and ads and things like that with us in it, along with TV shows with us in it. And then we would go, TV commercials, and then we would go do different events like Super Bowl, All-Star. We would pull up and, we would go on the spot. And if the spot was crazy and it was jumping, we'll go to the owner of the club or whatever and be like, yo, we want to open the bar. He'd be like, open the bar? Like, are you crazy? That's going to be like 50,000. Like, all right, how long? 50,000 for how long? Like, well, it's 11 o'clock, so we can go to like 1 couple of hours, and we be like, all right, open the bar. And then we get on stage and be like, yo, what up? These footballs in the building. We're gonna open the bar for the next 2 hours, drinks on us. And then we did that everywhere. We used to do that everywhere we went. So it got to a point where, cats started to know who we was. You know what I'm saying?
That was like the clothing version of BMF.
Nah, you know what I say? I say Jagged Edge because they're my boys. So we was the clothing version of Jagged Edge. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. We had it. We were blessed, man. We came up in a time where, there wasn't too many of us. You know what I'm saying? So the light was shining on us, and then we got a lot of attention too because of just 4 young black brothers sticking together and making something work, and everybody loving the story and how it came about. So, that was a big joy to everybody too.
For sure. So, all right, so y'all going all over the country, buying out the bar, y'all popping, y'all all over TV, all over the radio. I saw an interview where you mentioned there were like extortion plots on y'all, man. Like cats is watching, like, oh nah, we need some of this bread. Like, how serious was that, man? How real was that at that time?
Nah, it was serious, man. Like everybody, it got to a point where cats, like I'm not no, I ain't no punk, but I'm not no killer, no, nothing like that. But it got to a point where cats was like really trying to come at us. I had a friend of mine. Well, I ain't gonna call him a friend, but cat that I used to know back in the days called me on the phone, and he's like, "Yo." No, he didn't call me on the phone. He came up to the building, and I walk in the lobby, and he like, "Keith, you got somebody here." So I walk in the lobby. I haven't seen this dude in, at this point, maybe over 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I see him, I'm like, I'm happy to see him. I'm like, "Yo, what's up, bro? What's good?" You know? And he got this somber face on, and I'm looking at him like, "What's wrong?" I said, "Yo, come in the conference room." So I go in the conference room with him, take him out the lobby. So we get in the room. I said, "What's up, man? What's good?" He was like, "Yo, the hood need to eat."
Right.
Like, what? The hood need to eat. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So there was a conversation I had with my guy, where my guy, you know, he drinks too much. He has a drinking problem. Let's put it like that. So when he gets drunk, he talks too much, and he talks shit that you ain't really, things that ain't never really been said. You know what I'm saying? He's just,
Right.
in his mind, he's just saying whatever he wants to say. So obviously, he had asked me um about something earlier, and I was like, "Yeah, you know, I don't really, you know, really mess with dude like that." So he was like, "You know what? I'm gonna He said, if I love you, Keith, man. You know, if anybody ever try to do anything to you, man, all you gotta do is make a phone call." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, because at this point he's on his way to being drunk." So
Right.
later on, it's like 4 or 5 hours later. Now he's twisted. He sees this kid, and he's like, "Yeah, anybody ever touch Keith, they got a problem. You know, I ain't. You know, I'm gonna air it out. Blah. You know, he's just talking." So the dude takes that and figures out, you know what? I'm gonna record him saying this, and then I'm gonna go to Keith and I'm gonna try to get some money out of him, because
Mhm.
if he don't give me no money, I'm gonna release this. So he's sitting there telling me about it, and I know I ain't do nothing wrong. So I'm sitting there like, what? What are you talking about? Like, man, go ahead, man. You must be out your mind. So he was like, "Yo, man, I don't get 30." It was like, I think it was like the last week of March, maybe like March 25th, 26th, something like that. And he's like, "Yo, if I don't get 30 million by April 1st, if I don't get 30 million by April 1st, I'm taking this to the news." So I'm like, "Man, you can take it wherever you want to take it." You know what I'm saying? I don't care, man. Like, you bugging. So to make a long story short, I want to say like 2 days later, my daughter's mother called me and she asked me, "Do I know this kid?" And I'm like, "Why would she ask me about this kid?" Like, so I said, "Yeah, why you ask me about him?" He said, "He lives on my block," and he came up to the house and was like, "Yeah, you know, your Keith daughter's mother. I know him, this, that, and the third, and be cool and all of that." So I'm like, so I call him now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pick up the phone. I'm like, "Yo, what you doing going to my daughter's mother house, man? What's going on? Like, what's up with you, bro?" And he's like, "Yo, I know where your daughter live at. You know what I'm saying? So you think I'm playing this, that, and the other. Now, that's my daughter. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm still like 1 foot in the street and 1 foot out the street. You know what I mean? So mentality wise, rather. So I'm like, okay, this dude want to play around. You want to fuck around? All right, let's do it. So I went, got a little something, went over to the block, sat across the street from my baby mama house, and I sat there for about a good 45 minutes. And then I was like thinking about what I was going to do and how I was going to do it. So I was like, "Yo, let me go to the liquor store real quick." So I went to the liquor store, bought me a fifth of Hennessy. I sat there in that spot and I drank the whole bottle straight. Right now I'm twisted and I'm sitting there, I'm like thinking, and then I'm thinking, like, man, this is about to change my whole life, man. I'm about to, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that. I'm going to jail tonight. And then
Yeah.
this came over me like, "Man, get your ass out of here, man. It's not that deep." And then I called my security. Well, he wasn't my security. He was always Damon's security. But I called him because he secured all of us, and he was somebody I could talk to. And I called him and told him because he was actually dealing with this thing with me, trying to figure out how we gonna get this dude to stop. And he was like, "Yo, Keys, man, get out of there, man. Just I got you, man. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna handle it." So I just, put the car in drive. I don't even know how I got home, but I got home, and um, and then the days leading after that, we just put pressure on him and pressure on him, and then I started making phone calls. One phone call I made was to my man Chaz Williams, God bless the dead. He's big OG out of the projects, on the south side. So I called him and I was like, "Yo, do you know this kid?" And he was like, "Yeah, I know him. Why? What's up?" And I was like, "Yeah, nah." They came to my office. I basically explained what happened, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna call you back in a little while. You ain't even got to worry about that." Before he got off the phone, he was like, "You ain't even got to worry about that no more." He called me back about 30 minutes later. He was like, "Yo, it's dead. So you good?" So I was like, "All right." Now that's on the other kid, but the dude that I know, because I know the other dude, but the dude that I know kept calling like, I want to say like 30 times a day. And then my boy Grim, you know what I'm saying? He called him like 1,000 times in a row. And the dude, after a while, he picked up, "Yo, why you keep calling me?" He was like, "Yo, because you keep bothering my man." You know what I'm saying? So I gotta call you because, you know, and he wanted to throw him out the window of the Empire State Building. And I'm glad that I didn't tell him what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
Because we didn't need that on 34th Street. That would have been a big scandal. But it was crazy, man. And then you had other people in the industry that was just, they seen us getting money, and then some of these dudes was real street dudes. So they was like, you know, I need this, if I don't get this, when I see you out in public. And so everybody had to get everybody had to get bulletproof vests. You know what I'm saying? Some of us was walking around with them things on us, you know what I'm saying, at all times. And then it just got to a point where we was like, "Oh, we can't do this. Like, this is not us." Like, you know, and I wasn't having it. I wasn't like I worked too hard, man, for somebody to come just take my stuff. So I wasn't trying to hear that. And it was a territory that we wasn't used to. Like, we didn't have these problems before we had money. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was trying to like cast anytime niggas try to rob us or try to figure, out where we gonna be, you know, and it was crazy. It got to a point where, those that few times that we was running around like that, those few times, it was ridiculous. Like, I am
Yeah.
not proud of that at all, but that's what we had to do to kind of protect ourselves.
Yeah. That's wild, man. I want 30 million in 4 days. Or all of y'all gone. That's crazy. So look, man, my cousin here, he owns, like I said, the hottest clothing line in the Carolinas. I mean, like, this shit is literally going crazy, right?
Hmm.
Do you have like any OG wisdom to up and coming designers, up and coming people that's trying to get their stuff out there, just in terms of like, some of the lessons that y'all learned throughout y'all process?
I I would um I would say to believe in yourself. Um, you know, it's not a race, it's a marathon. I talk to so many people on a daily that, you know, they're making $200,000 a year from clothes. Just nothing else, 200,000. And now they talking about making 1 million and signing the deal off to somebody and getting a partner. And I'm like, why? Like, why? You getting $200,000 a year. You should be trying to take that 200,000 and make 400,000, and just take it. Just let it be a slow burn. I think what happens is, once people get caught up and making money, now they figure out they're selling things. They want to take it to the next level ASAP, and getting to the next level as soon as possible ain't necessarily the thing either, because you don't realize that, yeah, yo, I want to be in department stores, I want to be here, I want to be there. Yeah, it's cool. You can be in a couple of specialty stores, the Dr. J's or the Jimmy Jazzes of the world, or the downtown locker rooms of the world. You know what I'm saying? But once you get in those department stores, you have to realize what that's all about. And they call it real estate, right? So you have, say you get into a place like Macy's. Macy's loves what you're doing. You know, you get a little bread. You might be making like 200,000, right? So now you in Macy's, you don't have a partner. All the money's coming out of your pocket. Macy's said, "Yeah, we're gonna put you in 500 doors." You know, and it's like, all right, cool, 500 doors. Yeah, we're gonna put you in 500 doors at $2,500 each order. Now you do the math on that, right? And the product that you got to put in, because now you got $2,500. So say $2,500 may be 10 SKUs. You know what I'm saying? But you doing, this one is like 500 pieces. This one is like 700 pieces. You know what I'm saying? Like each SKU has, a certain amount of numbers attached to it. So now all that stuff that you gonna want to put in a department store is gonna cost you $2 million. You ain't got $2 million. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you got to pay for them to receive the product in each store. So now you have to ship all of this stuff. Then you have to pay for, when you go into department stores, you see the tables and you see the cameras, the TVs up, and you see this, that, and the third. You have to pay for all of that in each store, which is called real estate. You know what I'm saying? So on top of your budget for your clothing, you now have to pay for shipping and delivery. You have to pay for real estate. And if your stuff doesn't sell within their time frame of selling, then they put it on sale, right? So now your stuff is on sale. What you thought you was going to get for it, you ain't getting that no more. And then you better hope that it does sell when it gets on sale, because if it doesn't, and this can all happen within 6 weeks. 6 weeks. I need to put that on mute. Yeah, so this could happen within 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. Now they're gonna turn around and say, "Yo, we don't want it. We want to ship it back to you." Now all the money you thought you were gonna make after you spent all of this bread on the product, now you have to pay for the product to come back to you. Now you have all this product that you have to off sell now because you're already behind in the season and everybody already bought up what they's gonna buy up for the season. Now here you come with all this product and you have to sell it for 10 cents on a dollar. You know what I'm saying? To even not even break even, but you know what I'm saying? To get some money back. So what I tell people, man, is just take your time, man, and just don't let it be a race, just a marathon, because there's always some other ways. Because if you're doing $200,000 worth of product a year, right? There's always a better way to do marketing. There's always a better way to do advertising and lift your stuff up. There's always a better way to invest back in your company with better pieces and better product. Better quality. There's always different ways to kind of bring your brand up. And everybody, you could hit 200,000 selling just t-shirts and hats and hoodies and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But if you want to go to like jeans and outerwear and and also too look into once you get to a secure point where you figure you're making enough money, and I would say that would be maybe close to $1 million, then you maybe want to do some licensing deals. When we started, we didn't know how to make women's clothes. We didn't know how to make kid clothes. Then it's a different, even though it's the same industry, it's a different system. So men have maybe 4 to 6 seasons, right? You got fall, winter, spring, summer. Maybe you might have fall, holiday, summer, spring and summer, right? So maybe you might have fall 1, holiday, spring 1, summer. You know what I'm saying? So you can have, depending on how big you are, you can have 4 to 6 seasons. I think women have over 20 different seasons. You know, they got fall 1, fall 2, fall 3, fall 4, you know, holiday 1, holiday 2, spring 1, spring 2, spring, you know what I mean? So it's a bunch of different deliveries for women than it is for men. So you can't be trying to do one and keep up with the other. It's just too much. You would have to have a huge company that you employ tons of people to do that. So you might want to look into some licensing deals. You might want to look into some collaborations, but you have to, each and everything that I'm saying, you have to make the right decision and choose the right partner, because you know, one wrong partner, I won't say one wrong partner, one bad partner can really hurt your brand. You know what I'm saying? They could just, you know, they wave the flag like they with you and they understand your culture and this, that, and the third. But once they get it, then they start doing things that you're not really giving them approval for, and things can go south real fast. So, you know, and if you got your brand over here selling for a certain amount of money, and then you got this company that you're working with, and they selling your stuff for 10 cents on a dollar everywhere else, that kills your brand. You know what I'm saying? So just take it slow, man, and try to understand all the aspects of the business, because a lot of people understand, oh, I could start a clothing line. So they only know how to start a clothing line, get some product done, you know, maybe get a website done, and certain little things like that to get them up to that level of annual income that they need. But then you got to factor in the marketing, you know, how you're going to market. Like some people get a budget, right? So say you're making 200,000 to say you're making $500,000 a year. A cat will probably spend $150,000 on marketing and advertising when he don't need to do that. But he's doing that because he has money, and he feels that because he has money, he can do that. And that's not necessarily the case. You know what I'm saying? You don't,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes the more money people get, they get too loose with it. You know, when you ain't got no bread, you get mad creative. you get creative like a mug, bro. You be like, listen here, you know, I ain't got that to do that. So how do I flip that and make that same impact? And you just keep the same mentality when you do have bread. You know what I'm saying? So that you can
Yeah.
prolong your bread.
Yeah. So look, so you guys last year y'all celebrated the 30-year anniversary, right?
All
So
right.
y'all celebrated 30 years of being in business together, generating over $6 billion, and like y'all still work together today.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a lot of people. I mean, that's rare. Like you don't really see relationships last that long, especially with that much money being made. How have y'all been able to maintain y'all's friendship through everything y'all been
You know, well, we were friends before the business. You know, we grew up, and you know, I know Carl and Damon met when they was like around 6, 7, something like that. Jay came in, I think, later around 10, 12. And then I came in, I think I was 15 when I met these guys. So, you know, we was friends before the bread. So, um, and then we did everything together. Like you gotta understand, we did all the, you know, the LL concerts and all the hip hop concerts together, and traveled, and you know, like Damon was like the first cat that I went out of town with at 15 years old by myself. You know what I'm saying? My mom's let me go, and we went to a concert, one of LL's concerts. I think actually would think it was whenever the Fresh Fest was. What was that, 1986? Or was it Run DMC? You have Run
Yeah.
DMC, LL Cool J, Big Daddy Kane, Dougie Fresh. Um, I think that's the Fresh Fest. I think it was 86. So it was before I turned 16 in 86, but I wasn't yet 16. So I was still 15. But she let me go. And that was the first time I went out there, went out of town with these guys. And so we knew each other. We kind of know each other personally. Um, and, you know, we'll check each other. Uh, if somebody gets too big headed, it wasn't a problem for, you know, one of us. Nobody else could check us, but we would check each other. And and we just rocked together, man. It wasn't crazy. Like these guys, once you grow up, they become like your brothers. You know, I ain't really at the time. I didn't have no brothers when I met them. It was just me and my sister. You know, I didn't have no brothers, and they became like an extension of the family. So
Yeah, that's dope. Um, Talk a little bit about the success of Fubu Radio, man, because that joint is really popping. Like I got a few 100,000 monthly listeners. I've been building it out. Bull put me up on a partnership that y'all recently locked in with. Talk about that a little bit, man.
yeah, it was you know, just trying to figure it out because I want to say around 2008, um, things started to slow down with the recession that hit, and you know everybody started losing their cribs, and everything was in a financial crisis, and um, Damon was, you know, we were supposed to do this reality show on BET, and I was like, man, this is gonna be dope because it's gonna be an extra check, you know what I'm saying, that we can get, especially being one of the first reality shows on BET. Um, but he didn't want to do it, and we didn't understand why he didn't want to do it. And the reason he didn't want to do it because he had Shark Tank, you know, in the background. So we were like, okay, cool. You know, you're gonna go ahead and do that. All right, we're gonna figure out something that we can do, you know, because at the time, Fubu kind of had, I won't say shut down, but as far as like a working office at the time, everybody, you know, was kind of let go, and we just kept the company open, and we was like, okay, let's just keep the name and everything up to date so that if we do want to do this again or it comes back around, you know, we'll still have ownership of the name and all of that. So we did that, and then I jumped into the modeling agency with one of my friends, and at first it was cool, and I think whenever Twitter came out, I think Twitter came out, what was that, 2010, I think, or something around there. Whenever Twitter came out, people, well, the models, I'll say, felt like they didn't really need somebody to represent them. You know, they could just go on Twitter and just hit the person up or hit the company up directly and, you know, undercut you. So when that started happening, I felt a sense of disloyal, just dishonest, you know what I'm saying? Disloyal people. So I was like, you know what? I can't deal with this. And then it was like having a bunch of girlfriends that you had to deal with, even though they wasn't your girlfriends. It was still a woman that you had to deal with and you know, and put up with and try to keep them happy. And it just became a little crazy for me, man, and I couldn't do it no more. So I want to say a few years later, Demetrius hit me up and was like, yo, we should start a I think this was like in 2013 or 14. And he was like, yo, we should start a radio station. You know, you ever think about starting a radio station? Now I'm thinking in my head, I need a spot. I need all the equipment. You know, when you go on a radio station, you know how it looks. So I'm thinking I need all that equipment. And he's like, you know, nah, you don't need all of that, but you know, we do have to get equipment. And I don't, and I'm, at the time, I'm saying to myself, I don't even have a space to house this joint. You know what I'm saying? So what am I going to do? So I kind of put him off for a while, and it was over a year I put him off, and then he came back and he said, "You ever give that thing any more thought?" And I was like, you know what? You know, I've been thinking about it, and you say we only need this and you only need that, and you know what, bro? Let's just go ahead and do it, and we'll figure it out on the fly. And we put it together, put it in like beta mode for like 2 years just to kind of figure out the music, the team and all of that. And then you know, I went through a couple of, you know, people who just want to be affiliated. And one thing about me is I do the work, man. So I want people that's going to do the work. Like I'm not going to do all this work and build this up for you to come in and want to hang around and go to parties and do events and, you know, and they don't want to do no work. I don't mind doing all of that, but we got to do the work, bro. So once I went through a couple of teams, I found the right team and we started to get it clicking. And that's around the time when you came through with the guys. Peace. I want to give a shout out to the Hamiltons. It was my second interview on Fubu Radio. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you guys came through and you guys taught me a valuable lesson because I didn't realize at the time, because y'all came up twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you came up twice.
We came up one time. We just happened to be in New York, and we came up another time when the EP had dropped.
Yeah. So the first time you guys came up, right? So Demetrius telling me I only need this little board and I need this mic. So I had a board that had one mic for the guest and one mic for the host. You know what I'm saying? So all of them was on one mic, and you know, if one person was talking low, you couldn't hear the other person. So when I went to go, I had my engineer, and he was like, "Yo, bro, we got to get some mics, man. Everybody can't be on the same mic. I can't do nothing with this." And you know, so when y'all came back up, we was able to do it right. But we was getting it together, man. We was finally turning the corner. We did the couple of festivals, and then right when things started to turn around, 2019, you know, coming into 2020, you know, we started securing a bunch of ads, and things started to pay for themselves, and it felt good not to come out of your pocket. But when COVID hit, it kind of set us back, like all the way back, you know. And I didn't think we was gonna come out of it. You know, we prayed on it, and we was like, okay, we gonna keep it going no matter what. But we didn't think we were gonna come out of that the way we did. And I just said to my team, you know, because me, I'm a teams player, right? So I told my team, y'all go and figure out how y'all gonna get y'all bread right, how y'all gonna pay this and take care of your bills and your family and all that. Just give me this little bit of time, and I'll make it sound like we on air every day. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they did, and we was able to keep it going. And then at that time, I was able to weed out some more people that, you know, wasn't fully committed. And then I had my team strong through that, you know, throughout that time. And then I figured, okay, now that I got my staff strong, I need to get my executive team strong. You know what I'm saying? And I started working on that. And once I got that done, bro, it was literally, you know, kind of smooth sailing from there. And just trying to figure out how to get the advertising back. But now you coming out of COVID, and everybody kind of holding on to their money. They're not really trying to, you know, they're not really trying to give up on that bread. So we were kind of falling into, you know, all right, let's go back in our pockets and keep doing it. And then we wound up running into U42 network, and they had a little situation where they got their own network. So we've been working with them throughout the pandemic. And then we came out of all of that last year, sat down and talked about doing a joint venture on some other stuff with their tech company. And, you know, when they presented it to me and Demetrius, it was like, wow, this is, you know, it's funny, you know, how God works, because I was getting to a place mentally where I was like, okay, is this even going to work? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this going to take off? Because, you know, we've been doing it for 7 years now. Like 7, it only took us 4 with FUBU, you know what I'm saying? So I'm on the 7th year, but then I took off 2.5 years at that time for COVID, you know? So I said, okay, it's 4.5 years that we've been doing this, you know, so I'm gonna give this a little, you know, another shot. But I was starting to doubt myself, and I was doubt the brand, and say, you know, is this even worth it? Can we stand up with these giants in the radio industry? So one day I got up and I was like, God, if this is gonna happen, just show me something. You know what I'm saying? Just show me something, because I looked at all the work that my team put in throughout COVID, and you know, and they stayed. You know what I'm saying? Like, and at the time, you know, we were building it up, so nobody was really getting paid. So what I did was I gave everybody that was there at the time, I gave them interest in the company. You know what I'm saying? So now they're basically a partner. Like, we all own this. So just to let them know, like, I'm serious about this. This is not something I'm just trying to, you know, go back and forth with you guys on. And everybody kind of bought into that, and they stayed around. And you know, when I asked God for that sign, you know, the phone rung, I want to say like 3 to 4 days later. Yo, hey Keith, man, what's up? We want to come sit down with you and have a meeting with you. We're gonna fly up to New York. And I'm like, okay, you know, I'm sitting in the house. I want to get out the house, so come on up. I'm gonna come out the house. Shit. So I didn't ask for what it was or nothing like that. And we sat down and we started talking, and it was only supposed to be an hour meeting, and it wound up turning into a 3.5 hour meeting. So
Yeah.
once we sat down and they figured out, like, it's just you guys involved and nobody else is involved. And he was like, yeah, it's just us putting our own bread in. So it's not a whole bunch of red tape you got to go through or listen to, or people to talk to. It's just us. So they was like, oh man, just how we like it. This is what we want to do. And when I'm telling you, the shit was so sweet, because I had offers to sell a majority interest of the brand, you know what I mean? But I work hard on the brand, and I just didn't feel like I have to answer nobody. And something I started just because they gave me some bread, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
and it was costing me bread, but it wasn't beating me down, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, I could deal with this. This is not $100,000 a month, you know what I'm saying? This is not one of those. So it was cool. So then we wound up striking a nice little deal, little joint venture. And so right now we got a lot of content on U42 Network. We're about to launch that any day now, actually. We just put out a press release beginning of the month. And just looking forward to doing some really great things. I don't talk about it too much publicly because some of the ideas are really like groundbreaking, and I don't want nobody to steal them before we get going on them.
Nah, that's all good, man. But look, man, once you establish making the profit, do you rely on sales alone, or do you keep an open line of credit with a bank? So that's a question somebody had real quick. Once you are established and making a profit, do you rely on sales alone, or do you keep an open line of credit with the bank?
And listen, credit is everything. You definitely want to keep that open line of credit, um, because that's where you could take your money that you're making as a profit and put that to the side and use their money. You know what I'm saying? And then pay them back their money on a low interest if you got your credit right. See,
Yeah.
that's the thing about business. Like, when we got into the business, we didn't really understand it. We didn't understand the fashion business part of it. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
yeah, you can make clothes, but there's certain events you got to be at. There's certain people you need to know. There's certain tricks of the trade. You know what I'm saying? There's
Right.
you have to learn, you know, how to open a bank account, how to do, the credit thing with your bank, and just you have to know a lot of these things. You got to know about a budget, because a lot of times, especially I know as a young black man growing up, I didn't get on no budget until I was damn near my 30s. You know what I'm saying? If I
Right.
wanted it, I bought it, and that mentality doesn't work in business. You know what I'm saying? If you don't got it, then you got to wait, or work harder to get it.
Right.
But there's a lot that goes into um the fashion industry as a whole, business wise, that a lot of people don't realize. Like, and I don't want to say just the fashion business, just any business, because like they think that it'd be like show business. It's a lot in that thing. Whether it's lawyers, it's trademarks, it's copyrights, it's just so much. And you know, and my best advice that I would say is get you a great lawyer, and then surround yourself with people who are educated in the field that you're trying to jump into, because that could save you a lot of heartache and time, um, making the wrong decisions. Because we made the wrong decisions. We was coming up, we was blowing that money, we was blowing through that money because we didn't know what to do. We was buying flammable um fabrics and didn't know they were flammable until somebody started smoking a cigarette and they damn near shirt lit up. Oh, we got stop production on that. You know what I'm saying? But you just got to know, man. You got to know what to do, how to do it, and then too, you know, when you think about the process of making clothes, that's a whole goddamn business within itself, without even talking about selling and advertising and marketing. Getting the clothes made, I never was into, like, I felt like, okay, if I wanted something made, I just go get something made. No, that's like a 9-month process. almost a year process. So you have to do this, like right now, if I'm doing something right now, I'm designing for January, February next year. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing something for next year because it's going to take that long just for me to get it. And then I need to have it by October. You know what I'm saying? So from here to October, I need to be working so I can get that product in to be on time. Because you can, like, we almost messed up one time where our goods, it was too much to fly. We ordered so much goods, it was too expensive to fly express. So we put it on a boat, and it was on a ship. It was a storm in the Mediterranean Sea, wherever this boat was coming through. So it got backed up. So when I'm saying it came like within days of getting there on time, I think our launch date was July 4th. I mean, the date that goes in the stores is around in the end of June, beginning of July. We had to have it there, I think, by the 25th of June or the 20th of June or something like that. And we just made it within like 2 days. And can you imagine having $2, $3, $4 million worth of goods that you're gonna put in stores and say Macy's got 3 million of those goods, and you get to and your product doesn't come in on time? You can go out of business just off of one joint. Like you go spend, $5 million and you only made $1 million. Now you 4 million in the hole because your product was late. So it's a lot of little things like that people don't realize. Now it's easier. Now people go, they run, they buy a regular sweatsuit, put some stuff on it or screen print it, and but if you want to do a real line or your custom stuff and have your clothes fit the way you want them to fit and design them how you want to design, then with all the bells and whistles and the new buttons and customized buttons and all of that, you gotta get that done overseas.
Yeah. Well, look, man, we ain't gonna hold you too long. We appreciate you jumping on here with us. When I'm back up in New York, I'm definitely pulling up on you, man. And
Yeah. We don't have that office no more neither. We shut that down. You know what I'm saying? When COVID came. But I'm working on. I think I found me a nice little space for my studio. I've been looking all day, so I saw something that I really like. So I'm inquiring about that tomorrow. But by the time you come back up here, we should have a FUBU radio studio again. So you know what I'm saying? You'll be able to come through. And I'm doing my own show. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my own show with one of my personalities, host Chris Childs. So we working on things right now, putting them together right now. So stay tuned for that.
For sure. And look, before we log off, man, I always ask everybody, like, if it was one piece of life advice that you would give to somebody that's up and coming from what you've learned throughout your experience, what would that be?
Power is a dangerous drug. Power is a dangerous drug. Don't let it change you. I've seen a lot of people lose businesses, lose friends, lose a lot because excuse me, of them not understanding the impact of what power will give you. You know what I'm saying? And they get to a point where they start listening to all those yes men, and then they're like, "Oh, you the man, you the man." You're like, yeah, I am the man. And then you start to drift out somewhere where you just get stuck on an island by yourself because you turn what's the right word? I always say Jay-Z made it best. You was who you was before you got here. So power is only gonna put a light on whether you're an asshole or you're a gentleman. Like it's only gonna put a spotlight on that. So you'll see a person's true colors come out eventually. But don't let power change you. Stay humble. I've been in this game for 30 years, and one thing that I say like I just been the same person I was when I got in here. Yes, I've grown. I've learned some things. I've changed a little bit, business wise, because that's something that you have to do. But other than my personality, my character, and who I am, I've never changed that for nobody. I don't feel I need to. But sometimes when people get money, they get the cars, they get the houses, they get the jewelry, they start. I seen it, man. I seen it. I seen a lot of people go through it these past 30, 31 years. So, just stay true to who you are, man, and stay grounded and stay close to family, because family, we all got some effed up family or whatever you want to call it, but they gonna really hold you down. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know you before you had it, so they gonna, the ones in your family that's gonna hold you down, or that's gonna pull you to the side and tell you the truth. And just listen to that. Don't think you know everything. Don't be the smartest person in the room.
Right. Well, again, man, we appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
And we are signing off on the You Did What podcast, where exceptional people drop exceptional gems. And once again, we salute you. Everything that y'all doing over there, the radio station. I hear y'all got documentaries, hotel chains, all types of things popping off, man. So again, salute. And we signing off. You Did What podcast, man. Peace out.
Salute.
You did what? You did what? You did what? You did what?